Good morning. All right. This morning is Workbook Lesson 160. I am at home. Fear is the stranger here. And I'll be kicking it off in about 30 seconds. Good morning, everybody. If you're having a great day, we're gathering up here. If you'd like to be up here, feel free to raise your hand.
Morning, Lee.
Papa, how are you?
I'm good, but I'm also only good for about 20 minutes, not even.
It's all right. We're all on a short time span this morning. The kids are going in. They got field days. Yeah, everything's going to happen. I think we got a good plan this morning.
Good.
How was the drive yesterday?
Long.
Yeah.
But
it
was
always
great.
is, isn't it?
I did something I never did before. I took
Yeah?
that little car over 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
I'm not supposed to say that, I guess, but
I understand. But I got to tell you, that Mini, it's for a convertible, it's tight. It's amazing how well
it's an amazing car. I was talking, I got it, at Flow Mini told me, they said, if you want to keep this car healthy, you got to have fun, go out and speed up a little bit safely. And so I did. I was on 95 and no one else anywhere near, and it didn't change the feeling of the car. It stayed secure the whole time. Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
tell Sean about it too.
Yeah.
Don't tell Mom, okay? Don't tell Mom. Right?
No, we won't tell anybody. I'll just record it.
Yeah,
in public spaces.
A couple of 100,000 people.
She doesn't listen to this stuff.
I know.
Well, today I'm excited. Today's going to be a great workbook lesson. It is 160. I am at home. Fear is the stranger here. You're in a hotel room, aren't you, Dad?
Yes.
All right. Well, fear, you're at home. Fear is still going to be a stranger there.
Yeah, I'm pretty strange here, I'll tell you. And I have a breakfast with everybody at 7, so I can't stay very long.
All right. Well, let's kick this off. I'm at home. Fear is the stranger here. Turn the music down just a bit more.
Morning, Adriana. Morning, Tom.
Good morning, Bob. And good morning, everybody. Sana.
Good morning.
This now that everybody's well today, I hope. And I'm going to start sending invitation. I know that if you can, you will not accept it, but I do this every single day because I want to welcome everyone.
All right, here's Workbook Lesson 160. I am at home. Fear is the stranger here. Fear is a stranger to the ways of love. Identify with fear, and you'll be a stranger to your higher self. And thus, when you identify with fear, your higher self is unknown to you. What is your big S self? Remains an alien to the part of you, your ego's little s, lowercase s, self, which thinks that fear is real. What is your higher self remains an alien to the part of you, your ego's little s self, which thinks that fear is real. But your ego believes that fear is different from and not sourced by your ego's own mind. Who could be sane in such a circumstance? Who but a madman could believe that he is what he is not and judge against his higher self? There's a stranger in our midst, our ego, who comes from an idea of fear which is so foreign to the truth that our ego speaks a different language, looks upon a world truth does not know, and understands what truth regards as senseless. Stranger yet, your ego does not recognize to whom he comes, which is God's Son, your higher self. Yet your ego maintains that your big S self's, your higher self's home, which is your mind, belongs to your ego to rule. Although the ego is real, alien, The ego is the real alien in your mind. Now your ego seems to be at home and in control of your mind. Your ego falsely proclaims that your higher self is the foreigner that does not belong within your mind, which is now split and sick with fear. And yet, how easy would it be for you, the decision maker and true ruler of your mind, to choose for the truth of your higher self and say, the mind I share with God is my home. Here, I, my higher self, belong and will not leave the mind I share with God because a fearful madman, my ego, says I must. What reason is there for not saying this and reclaiming your home, which is the mind you share with God? What could the reason be, except that you had asked this stranger in, which is the fear-based thought system of the ego, to take your place and let you and your decision maker be a stranger to the thought system for love? No one would let himself be dispossessed so needlessly, unless you, as decision maker for all your choices, thought there was another home more suited to your tastes. Who is the stranger in the home that is the mind you share with God? Is it fear, or you, your higher self, who is unsuited to the home which God provided for his Son? Is fear God's own, created in God's likeness? Is it fear that love completes, and is it fear completed by love? There is no home that can shelter both love and fear. Love and fear cannot coexist. If you, being only love, are real, then fear must be an illusion. And if fear is real, you do not exist at all. How simply then the question is resolved. Who that fears has but denied his higher self, the Christ, and said, I'm the stranger here in heaven, the home of only love. And so I leave my home of only love to seek a different home based on fear that is more like the fearful little s self I imagine myself to be, rather than my true reality as Christ. And with my denial of who I really am, I give my ego all I thought belonged to my big S self, including the creative power of mind. With this self-denial of his Christ nature and perceiving himself to be something he is not, now is the split-minded, exiled of necessity, since love and fear cannot coexist. The split-minded, not knowing who he is, uncertain of all things but this, that the Son of God is not himself, and that the Son's home has been denied to him. What does the split-minded search for now? What can the split mind find? A stranger to the higher self, the split mind who does not know what he is, can find no home wherever he may look. For due to fear, he has made return to love possible, impossible. A stranger to the higher self, the split mind who does not know what he is, can find no home wherever he may look, for due to fear he has made return to love impossible. To who he does not know who he is, his way is lost. Except. To he who does not know who he is, his way is lost. Except a miracle will search him out and show him that he is no stranger to love now, even in his self-imposed exile to fear. The miracle will come. For in his real home, his higher self, the Christ, remains. His big S self is asked no stranger of fear in. His higher self asked no stranger of fear in, and took no alien egoic thought to be mistaken for itself, the Christ. And the Christ will call its own, who do not know what they are, unto itself in recognition of what is its own. Who is the stranger? Is the stranger not the voice for fear that your higher self calls not? You're unable now to recognize this stranger of fear, your ego in your midst, for you have given your ego your rightful place as the decision maker for your mind's thought system. Yet is your higher self as certain of its own as God is of his Son. God cannot be confused about creation. God is sure of what belongs to God. No stranger can be interposed between God's knowledge and his Son's reality. God does not know of strangers. God is certain of his Son. God's certainty suffices. Who God knows to be his Son belongs where God has set his Son forever. God has answered you who ask, who is the stranger? Hear the Holy Spirit's voice assure you, quietly and sure, that you are not a stranger to your Father, nor is your Creator a stranger to you, who God created. Whom God has joined remain forever one, at home in God, no stranger to God himself. Today, we offer thanks that Christ has come to search the world for what belongs to God. Christ's vision sees no stranger, sees no strangers, but beholds Christ's own joy, and joyously unites with them. The split-minded see Christ as a stranger, but they don't recognize themselves as their higher selves. Yet, as the split-minded give Christ welcome, the split-minded are healed and remember who they really are. And Christ leads the once split-minded gently home again, where their healed minds belong. Not one does Christ forget. Not one Christ fails to give you to remember that you're complete and perfect as your loving home was established. Christ has not forgotten you, but you will not remember Christ until you look on all as Christ does. Who denies his brother is denying Christ, and thus refusing to accept the gift of sight by which his higher self is clearly recognized, his home remembered, and salvation come. That's today's lesson. Lesson 160, I'm at home. Fear is the stranger here. I'm going to read through these notes, and Tom's going to do a meditation, and we're going to have an amazing day. This is a great lesson, a pivotal point in the year where we really start to be at home in the thought processes of being one with our higher self. And in my mind, it feels like I've got a driver, and as I was growing up, that driver drove, and at one point I kind of associated myself so much with the driver of my car that I thought I was the driver of my car. I think I'm the one that drives this body around. I'm the one that tells this body where to go. And my habits that have gotten me to the point where I know how to make my bowl of cereal and clean my body in the morning, they've been just firmly ingrained for so long. I've identified myself with them to the degree that I don't even recognize my higher self. But at this point in the year, that part starts to fall away. The higher self starts to be at home. The egoic self starts to feel a little bit like the stranger. So, notes to lesson 160 from Understanding Course in Miracles Workbook for Lessons: How to End the Blame, Shame, Guilt, and Fear with Love and Forgiveness, by some guy named Tom Wakechild. We're so grateful for him. All right, here are the notes. Do you live in a peaceful world, or is your world full of fears? Love has no opposites. Fear is a stranger to love. When you identify with fear, you've imagined the loss of your true identity, and you've denied the truth of who you really are. Your decision maker has forgotten that truth is true, and nothing else is true. You've become split-minded and allowed fear to enter into a world of your mind's imagination. Fear is unknown in the shared mind of God. By making the false appear real, you've allowed the thought system of fear to masquerade as the ruler of your world. Your decision maker has chosen to deny your own birthright. Your mind has been made sick with fear and now has become an alien to the truth. God did not create fear. God's creations complete God himself and are only an extension of love. Love has no opposites. Love and fear cannot coexist. A fearful world cannot be the home that God prepared for his beloved creation. If you perceive a fearful world, it is a world that only exists within your mind's imagination. Your split mind has imagined lack, limitation, and separation to exist. These beliefs have birthed a false world that is the home of the little s self that you imagine yourself to be. It's this, the home for the sin, guilt, and fear that your ego perceives to be real. Only love is real and is a complete in itself. Only love is real and is complete in itself, for love is the oneness of all that is. Fear, which would have to be defined as love's opposite, cannot be real. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear does not complete love and can only appear real within the imaginings of a delusional mind. If you are real, fear must be an illusion. And if fear is real, you don't exist at all. If your life is full of fear, you've denied the truth of your higher self. You have forgotten that you are the writer, director, and star of your dream world of perception. You have invited an alien thought system to enter your mind, and now that thought system rules in place of the truth. When you believe that lack, limitation, and separation are possible, you have forgotten your divine birthright. You have turned the exciting game of what am I into the bad dream of separation that you mistake to be real. Differentiation does not mean different. Different means that they exist separate. Let me try that again. Different means that there exists separate and autonomous beings. Differentiation only allows for various aspects of the one self to experience an aspect of itself. When we mistook the game board of differentiation to be interpreted as differences, we allowed a stranger to enter our mind. The stranger is the ego's fear-based thought system of separation. You have forgotten that you're the creator of the game of what am I? You have allowed your mind's imagination to become the arbiter for truth. Your mind now imagines that the false can be true and the true false. But pretense and imagination cannot change the truth of who you really are. God, the Holy Spirit, and your big S self, your higher self, all know that you remain the Christ, part of the indivisible one self. God knows the truth, and with knowledge comes certainty. Certainty, God's certainty, guarantees that those who have mistaken the game of what am I to be their reality will reawaken to the truth. God sees your fearful ego as the real stranger in the world of truth. Christ knows that fear cannot be real. Christ searches this dream world for what belongs to Christ. The Holy Spirit and Christ can reframe the world you perceive into a witness for that truth if you let them. The Holy Spirit recognizes your higher self to be the true ruler of your mind. When you, as decision maker, decide to follow the thought system of the Holy Spirit, you join with them and allow them to lead you home to the recognition of the truth. Paradise was never lost. God's Son never left his home, but is merely forgotten that his mind sleeps and only needs to reawaken. You will not remember your higher self until you see Christ in all your brothers. To give is to receive. When you follow the thought system of love and forgiveness and extend that to all you touch, you recognize the truth of who you really are. Fear will dissipate before the reality of the truth. The mind you share with God is your home. Fear is a stranger here because fear does not exist within the mind of God. That's the notes from Tom's book. I'm going to read the question of the day. Tom's got a meditation, and I hope everybody has a magnificent Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us here. The question of the day is, your world is a reflection of you. The thought system that you follow determines the world you perceive. You can only follow one thought system at any given moment in time. When you follow the ego's thought system, your world is perceived to be a fearful place. And so the question of the day is, how fearful is your world? Thank you, Tom.
Why don't you get yourself in a comfortable position? The lesson says that I am at home. There is a stranger here. Home is really the idea that the illusion of time is gone. Fear arises when we believe that we lack the creative ability to handle a given situation. It's the belief that we have some predetermined result that we need to get to, and that if we don't get to that predetermined goal or result, that somehow we have the ability to stop, or the flow of love, God's love, will cease, and therefore we have something to fear as a result, that we can now, that our actions seem to have consequences. So what we want to do today is to look at this idea of fear and realize that it's the belief that our past is still being carried forward into the future and that it has current consequences. Eternity is the realization that this moment and forever are exactly the same. You are always free and clear from your past. The past has no consequence, and therefore there is neither a past or a present. You're always free to be in the current moment. Therefore, there's neither this past nor the guilt to bind you. There is no separation that has ever occurred, and that thus there's nothing in this moment that can dictate your future, since each moment is independent by itself. This is the knowledge that you rest in the perfect safety of God's unconditional love. You're totally free. There is no past to bind you. So what we're going to do today is to just become aware that you, as the decision maker, have the ability to forgive this idea that the past somehow has consequences and has resulted in you no longer being God's beloved child, that somehow you have sinned, that you need to get a particular result, that you're constantly being judged. And that's a decision. And that's a decision for fear. God's love is unconditional. It flows endlessly. And therefore, there's nothing that you can do to stop that flow. All that you can do is deny its flow. And that's a decision. That's a decision that your ego or your mind makes to believe that you could be something that you're not, that you could do something or sin, or that your actions would have the ability to prevent the flow of love. You are like the Dutch boy with the dam, thinking that you have the ability to hold back all that unconditional love. And that ability to hold back is the belief that your past binds you. So, with that in mind, let's look at our world and realize that the past is gone, has no ability to bind, has no ability to hold back God's unconditional love. Become aware of the breath. As you become aware of that breath, realize that that's like the water that the past is trying to hold back the love of God, and realize that there is an endless flow, that there is nothing that can hold back that flow of love. So the love of God is there, and it's that belief that you've built a dam that can resist that flow of love that needs to be breached. With each breath, realize the love of God flows in, and I accept the love of God, and I realize that this flow is endless. It's flowing towards you, and it's your belief, it's your fears that create that dam that tries to prevent the flow. But the love of God just keeps on flowing, keeps on filling the dam, keeps the wall of fear are weak. Dam that was built of our belief that we were a sinner is beginning to crumble, is beginning to be breached, is weakened as we start realizing that the past has no ability to bind us. And our belief that we could be a sinner, that we could be guilty, that we could have offended or done something wrong, or that we had to get a result to allow or to have that love be received now seems like a foolish notion. For we realize that home, our home, is unconditional love. And that flow is continuing, washing away all our doubts, all our fears, all our belief that the past is somehow binding us to the present. The love of God in and I receive that love of God. The past is gone. The past has no ability to prevent my decision today to accept the love of God. I accept the love of God. I am. And now, as that dam has been breached, and we bathe in the love that is the truth of what we are, we realize that we float in unconditional love. We are oneself, perfect, whole, and complete. There's just a lake of unconditional love. We now rest in calm waters, waters that fulfill the entire valley, the entire being that you are. You are free from all worry, all belief that somehow you needed to get a specific result or that flow would cease. I accept the love of God. I am the love of God. You are home, carried in the love that is God. Love surrounds you. Love is you. There is only love. The past, those beliefs that somehow you had to earn God's love, it's gone. It's gone. There is no past to bind. You are free to be in this moment, to make a decision where you choose to place your awareness. In time and space, there no longer is a past to bind you. You are free, free from your past, free from your belief that you might be a sinner, that you might lack, that you are guilty, that you are something that could cause this flow to prevent that flow from being in your awareness. That's a decision. And today we make the decision to be and extend the love. We bathe in the present. And today we are aware that there is only this one. I accept it. I accept it. I release all belief that there's a past that could bind me. I accept the truth. I release all belief that was it permanent, that I had to get a specific result, that I could do something that could cause unconditional love's flow to cease. I am bathed in the love of God. I accept that love of God. There is only love. And as I accept that love, I extend that love. There is no past that binds my sisters, my brothers, my world. There's only love. God's love. I accept the love of God. I extend the love of God. I free my brothers, sisters from all beliefs that they were an earner, that I had to judge and determine whether or not they were on their own perfect path. They too rest in the love of God. And although we can pretend that we're something that we're not, that we can somehow hold the love of God back, that we could prevent this flow, that is not our reality. The past has no ability to bind. I am free. The now is only there. Eternity has arrived. I am free to accept the love of God. And today, I make that decision to accept the love of God. And since giving is receiving, I accept the love of God. I extend that love of God. There is no judgment, no requirement that I or my brother get some specific result, for love is all around. And there is nothing I can do to prevent that love. I accept the love of God. I am the love of God. I accept the love of God. I extend the love of God. And today, we've made a decision to come home. Fear is the stranger here. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear is the belief that I need to get a specific result, or that love, that life will cease. is now the stranger. Fear is no more. And as I accept the love of God and bathe in that, I realize that I am God's beloved child. And as I reflect that out to my world becomes a place where I can be and demonstrate anything that I want. I can imagine anything that I'd like. But today, I make the decision to be a minister for God, a minister for the truth. And today, I accept the love of God and I extend that same love to my world. My world today will be a reflection of me, and I choose to be and demonstrate love and form, no judgment, no worry, no thoughts of sin, guilt, and fear. Only the realization that I am home, that my brothers, sisters, my world is home if I allow. I accept the love of God and I extend the love of God. My world is a reflection of me. I am love, and my world will reflect that. I grant myself and my world permission to be free from my egoic illusion that they could be something other than perfect, whole, and complete. I am that once. I accept the love of God and I extend the love of God. My brothers and sisters accept the love of God and we join in that knowledge. The past has no ability to bind. I am home. I am in eternity, free, and time. The idea that there is a past is gone. I accept the love of God. The past is gone. I accept the love of God. I bring my awareness to the now, the present. I accept the love of God. I place my attention on today, this moment, and I make the choice to be and extend that love. And with that belief that you made the decision to come home, that fear is the stranger here. Take a deep breath and ground that love that is your essence down into this time-space continuum, this world of perception. And know that today the world will be a reflection of the truth. Fear is gone, strength and love. Feel comfortable and you've ground yourself in this dimension. Take a deep breath and open your eyes, knowing that today my world will be a reflection of me, love and full. Namaste. Question for today is, how fearful is your world?
Tom, can you get closer to your mic, please?
Oh, I was just saying that the question for today is, how fearful is your world? Your world is a reflection of you, and it's that thought system that you follow that determines the world that you perceive. So uh, ask yourself, how fearful is your world? And just be quiet and I'll, let you guys comment. Think on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. The meditation really, I mean, for myself, it's helpful to really ground my thoughts in one single idea. And it's for me really helpful to start the day like that. I I I seem to have today this kind of is I don't know if I should call it like a dilemma because I'm not afraid of what is going on around my daughter's life because I know that that is something that she needs to go through for a higher reason and everything will be in the order that God's needed to be. But I get triggered every time that I'm talking to her and I see her father being a little bit annoyed by her talking to me, and that triggers my ego thought, and as is really something that is super attached to the concept of of uh, of the higher love that I can think of, that it's a mother's love. So of course gives like this kind of reactions in my relationship, in my special relationship with him, to just give him a hard time in I mean a hard time of me saying to him the things that he should figure it out by himself. And then I feel this kind of guilt inside of me because I know better. I know that I shouldn't be reacting to that. But for me, it's so annoying when I'm talking to my daughter and I have him like around her, being annoyed by it and asking her to, or rushing her to hang up because I don't know, he needs to do anything else or whatever. So how can you move a little bit more from fear to love when you internally feel like everything is okay and it's part of a process on a learning, and it's a learning process for everybody that takes a part in this play, but still like the guidance, well, it's not guidance, like the instinct that you have inside of you is, yeah, you need to be strong in this a sin, and this is sin. uh, it's like uh, a conflict right now because I haven't been able to diffuse myself when these triggers appear, and I put my mind to God and I know everything is okay, but I still feel this really deep rush to go into Him and said, what part of you doesn't see that this is not uh, letting her overcome her fear to lose her mother? It's difficult for me to go through this experience completely out of the ego because I know everything is okay, but some part of me is still attached to the idea that he needs to be kind, and he needs to be more joyful when she is connected with me. I don't know. It's something
Yeah,
that I have been going through.
yeah, I think that what you're speaking of is really the constant dilemma that this time space continuum provides, because uh, the course says it's an illusion and therefore it's not real, but that's not our how we've been brought up to believe. We believe that this is our real world, that this does have some consequences on our future happiness. And because of that belief, we will constantly be in fear because we think that our present decisions have some impact on what we're going to experience in the future. And that's, what we've been taught is that our present is the result of the past. So it's this idea, of course, in order to escape this on a big picture, you could say, well, everybody's on their own perfect path. But because we don't perceive this to be the illusion, we're going to tend to think that we have to get a specific result. So that's really a question that we could call it level confusion, that you're confusing the happenings that's going on with the idea that it does have an impact and it can change your trajectory into the future. So, the Holy Spirit knows the big picture. And in regards to your daughter's situation, it knows how all the various parts of the pieces of the puzzle fit together. And you have to have trust that everybody's on their own perfect path. That's very difficult for us with our limiting beliefs and the way we've been brought up to have trust in that. So really, it's a question that as long as we get caught up in the drama, our ego says there's a correct way. We have to get a particular result. And if we don't get that result, it'll have negative consequences. On a big picture level, the moments from one moment to another, days unfold, those are all perfectly unfolding in the right way. And that's what exactly your daughter, your ex, yourself need to grow and learn. But we get caught up in the moment as opposed to realizing the big picture. So as long as you perceive this world to have consequences and somehow perceive someone to be the body and the body them, you're going to always be in fear because you have you've built your house on quicksand. You've built everything that you perceive to be on shifting ground. If we realize that we're spirit and not the body, and that we're actors and that we're just, these events are unfolding. The Course in Miracles says that free will does not give you the right to determine the curriculum. The curriculum must be designed by somebody that knows how to get you home, how to get your daughter home to reawakening, how to get your ex home to reawakening to the truth of who he is. And therefore, the curriculum has been designed for each of those specific aspects of the one self so that they can get home. And we've got to trust in that. And that free will only gives us the right to decide what part of the curriculum that's set by, we'll say God, the Holy Spirit, to bring us home, what we're going to take at any given time. So your daughter, your ex, you have chosen at this moment in time to take a certain part of the curriculum, and that curriculum is designed to reawaken you to the truth, whatever you're trying to learn. So we have to trust in the big picture, not get caught up in the moment. The moment says, I need to get this result or I can't advance. The teacher knows that you need this moment, you need this lesson. And so you've got to trust in the big picture, allow all things, trust all things, forgive all things. Otherwise, don't let your ego decide or judge whether or not everybody's getting the right results, whether or not they're following your plan. And then that gives you the ability to transcend this moment, to realize that it has no ability to change the truth and that it's all unfolding perfectly for you. So, you know, that's getting, when fear arises, you get caught up in the drama. You think you need to get a predetermined result. And if you realize that there is only love and that's what we're going to reawaken to, then you can enjoy the ride. You know, it's like on a coming in on a surfboard. You know, the wave is taking you in the right direction. You're going to make it there, and now you can just sit back and enjoy it. But when we forget to laugh or forget the big picture, that ego, that belief in having to have the right plan, and that we've got the right plan and we have to impose that on others, becomes our overriding uh, thoughts and drives us into fear. I hope that helps.
Yes, Tom, thank you. It helps a lot. It helps a lot. Yeah, I have been feeling uh, that this needs to happen like this. I mean, the deeper feeling in this specific situation that I go through between yesterday and today is that this reaction that I have inside doesn't come from anger, in fact. I mean, it's just my willingness to drive into another direction in my communication with my daughter when he is the one who needs, oh well, when he needs to be around her if I'm connected. I mean, the whole conflict is around how he acts when she is connected with me, and I can clearly see that is coming from another place in his own self. And unless he awakened to the idea that he needs to just take a look in his own perception of the situation, I mean, he will have this kind of conflict with me. So
Mm.
so I don't
I would
wanna,
say,
I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I don't wanna delve into the conflict with him. But I there's something like really strong
mhm.
there that doesn't let me just go, doesn't let me, doesn't let the issue go. I like, it's like in like some force inside of me is, and I quite,
Yeah,
I
I
can't
would
quite
say that
decide if it is
the
the ego or if it is a higher
yeah, yeah,
perception of things. But
I would say that the problem, the problem is always my own perception.
mm,
So the problem is that I believe that my ego, knows
mm-hmm.
what's best for everybody, and
Yeah,
therefore my plan is the thing that needs to be followed. And I now
yeah,
hold a
but
grievance
when there's
against
no
somebody
apply,
else. That's because we're mistaking the
because
act, act three of a thousand act play, that we know the
uh-huh,
results are everybody lives happily ever after in the end. And we
yeah,
mistake act three for the end. If
okay,
it's not perfect, it's not the end. So if
mm-hmm.
you see someone's path or my own path is not one of inner peace right now, I know that it's not the end, that I'm still on the journey,
Mm-hmm.
because in
Exactly.
the end, everything is perfect in the end. So what we want to do is we want to get in Act 3 and say, no, Act 3 is wrong. We need to be in Act 1000. Act 1000 is when everybody lives happily ever after. And we don't realize that we need to go through Act 3, 4, 5 to get to Act 1000, where everybody lives happily ever after. And
That is my issue. That's
yeah. So that's really the thing. We're mistaking the given moment of time. And in a lesson or two before, they said that actually time is looking back on a journey that's already complete. Our task in time and space is to realize that your ex, yourself, your daughter have already completed that journey, that they are perfect, whole, and complete. They are the Christ. And now that they're looking back and going through Act 3, but we already know that they've completed Act 1000. They're already perfect, whole, and complete. And so now we can look and say, oh, interesting that we want to entertain ourselves playing on this game board and recreate something that was long ago resolved. And now we want to, pretend that it's real. And, that's a lot of fun. Whenever people act, they, get into it. And it's just, again, trying to realize that we're not bound and we're not the role that we've been assigned to play at any given moment of time does not actually taint the actor. It's just a role, and everybody is playing their role perfectly. Everybody deserves the Oscar or the Emmy or whatever it is. And we're
yeah, that's true.
And we're all in our own little minds. We all become the award that we'll get is for best actor or actress in the end, because in our own little minds we are the star. We're also the producer. We're all the scriptwriter, and we're just letting this thing unfold. So it's having to have that big picture. That's why I like people that have had near-death experiences or revelations. They've got the idea of the big picture. And the big picture, that whenever those people come back from their near-death experiences, the NDE, they sit there and they realize that, hey, they can go with the flow, that there's nothing that
And
they
you know
need
what's
to
funny?
do.
You know what's
So,
funny about what you're saying, that that yeah, it's exactly that dynamic that you just told what was happening, that I know that everything is gonna be at the end like this, but I want him like realize it right now, so he stopped playing this damn role. And the funny thing is that as I want it to be different, because I know it is an illusion. Last night I wrote a lot of things, and when I tried to delete the messages because he hadn't seen them yet, again I have the issue that I deleted only for myself, and I was, oh my god, the message was sent anyway. It's like it's like God saying, no, 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 you don't get to get out of your role, you need to play this role. So that's the whole issue there. Yeah, thank you very much, Tom. You make me laugh about myself. Thank you.
yeah, I was just going to say, we're supposed to be actors, but we think that we're also the director, and that the script,
Exactly.
needs to his script needs to be thrown out. That you've got a better script that you've written. Thank you.
Thank you. And how is everybody, Luisa?
I'm okay. And the first word that came up when you made a question was letting go of the need of control, how he is going to react, and that was I don't have what that beautiful explanation and cannot go deeper into it. But that was my answer to your question. So let go of whatever you think best is for
But
everyone.
you know what? It's funny that as I know that he plays that role, I have tried to just not focus on him and just try to get straight to beta. But for some reason, higher reason now I know, he keeps bumping into the call for some reason, and we can't avoid. I mean, I haven't been able to avoid to have him around my daughter while she is in the call. So it is like Tom said. Well, everything is already a play that has been played already, but we are in this scene, and you will get there in some point. But this is something that everybody needs to learn in some form, so you don't get to you don't get to decide which parts of the play you want to play because you are not the director. I mean, it's really like that. It's funny because yes, you can let go. What I have been trying to do is avoid him, to just not to deal with him. But it seems like I have to deal with it in some form, and uh, I don't know. It's like this small experience is here to say to me, yeah, you can play that role of being the annoying ex-wife this time. Play it without attachment.
I was going to say that if you right now you're playing the role that you're supposed to be the teacher and he's the student, start thinking of him perhaps, and the course says that we're all teachers, we're all students, that he's your teacher showing you how he can push your buttons and what is there something there for you to learn, you know. So it's just interesting, but everything that unfolds, realize that from your own perspective, those things are learning lessons that are designed to help you, uh, not necessarily. Uh, I mean, everybody's on their getting their own learning lesson from all these things that are unfolding. So, what your X is showing is that you maybe still need to hone your skill or your ability to let go or and let God, uh, as opposed to getting on the ego and insisting that your way is the only right way to do it. Um, thank
Exactly.
you.
You said it, my friend. Thank you, Spirit of the Mountain. And how is everybody? Does anybody wants to share something? Please taking the kids to school. So I'm gliding this plane for now, and I am here to hear anything that you want to share. Hi Lee, hi Rosa, hi Monica, Surya. Ah yeah, I already sent you the invite, Rosa. Rainbow, you change. Ah, those are beautiful flowers. Good morning. Good
Good
morning,
morning.
everybody.
That was an amazing discussion and a wonderful course. It helped me see the fear in my world. And just peeling back the fear, I discovered my inner child.
it takes a lot of burden off of me. And there's a scripture that's like I forget, I can't say the scripture because I'm not really in, but I could tell you what basically what it means. It was like Jesus saying, like he he would take the burden off of us, um, and I think of Jesus as being part of the, like if I'm thinking about material, like the brain, the physical brain or the physical consciousness, I would think of him as the subconscious, um, who says all things are possible, and the God being the conscious of the data that comes in. So I feel like, I feel like that there's a burden off of me to try, be something, or try to be anything, or try to be nothing. The burden is off of me. It just seems to unfold in the moment.
Yes, Andy, that's right, my friend. Yeah, and the times when we can hold the the ego back and we just slip into the ego. I mean, like we go into this conflict into ourselves. That is also something that we need to forgive, because if it happened and you couldn't really do it better, well, it's already done. So
Yeah,
you
and
need
if
to
you
forgive
didn't,
yourself, right?
yeah, and if you didn't understand it, or you don't understand something, then the conflict is fine to be there, because at some point it will be, um, unraveled. It will be understood that there's not a conflict, because there will be a higher understanding.
Exactly. No, nothing is really a bad thing. It's just things unfolding. Surya, how are you? I saw you raising your hand, and Rosa, I guess Rosa left already. But if anybody wants to share something else, please open your mic. Hi, Kayam.
Hey everybody,
Ron,
peace.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I was just gonna say that I just loved hearing Tom speak, and the reason why I haven't spoke is because I feel like his words are still working through me. So thanks, Tom, and thanks everybody for joining together. This is all that matters, really, is the truth. So it's really important that to remember the truth is really all we can do, and salvation lies in our brother, or the gender doesn't matter, but that's the language of the course. But we need each other. We can't live our life trying to do everything ourselves. It's just the hard way, and it's the ego's way. So I guess that's all I wanted to say. But I didn't want to say that. I guess the Holy Spirit made me say it.
Thank you, Kayam. Thank you, and I'm glad to see you here. I haven't seen you in several days, so it's glad to have you every time that you can. So, how is everybody? Sean, my friend, it's over there. Sean. Ali, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And thank you for the room, and thank you for the words so far. I really like God's the director. The book I read from says God's the director, we are his agents, and the word agent means that we're entrusted with, to represent someone. So that's a pretty good honor. And I just try to let God work through me, and go with the flow now. And anyway, I'm feeling grateful and grounded here today. And just want to thank all of you for being here and sharing your time and hearts as well. And thanks, Tom. Well, thanks everyone, but thanks, Tom. Your words very like healing and confirming. So thank you. Peace.
Everybody's safe at school on this side, and feels like a great morning. I really appreciate you all's time. It's been a transformative year for me, and each one of these mornings kind of peels back another layer. It gets a little bit closer to God. It feels really great. I want to thank you all. Hey, Sean, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing okay. Just waking up a little slow. I was up late last night talking to Andy and another person online, and it was pretty cool. But now I'm extremely tired because I didn't get much sleep, but it was very much worth it. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much what's going on.
Okay.
I agree. It
The
was
good news
cool.
is, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, it was great.
Well, Andy, my friend, she always has such a deep conversations. I really love to have you here, Andy. I'm really like amazed by how you really can have rest at night with few hours. So that it's really amazing in your side. So everybody, Surya, do you wanted to say something? I think I saw you flashing your
Hi,
mic. Hi. Well,
thank you. Yeah, I was just enjoying the room. I just got a call, but I'm back. So how fearful is your world? Well, not at all. I'm not fearful, which is an amazing place to be. Where you just trust God, trust the universe. Everything is working in divine order. And yeah, definitely have ended with the blame, shame, guilt, and fear. So yeah, just thank you for this space. It's a beautiful
that it's amazing, and I see that your
Thank
profile
you.
is really amazing too. So
Thanks. I was on here earlier, but I couldn't. Somehow I lost my old profile, so I just started fresh. Like I had 3,500 followers before. So I'm just starting anew, basically for 1 week. So follow me. I need to still get back into my club. I had a club called Be Present Love Now, and I can't even access it. So I need to somehow contact Clubhouse. But yeah.
yeah,
Anyway,
I had
Surya is.
when I had troubles with my account. I mean, last year I had several different moments. I had like this block in my account, and I couldn't enter my account. So I had to reach the yeah the the how do you say, the online help they have in their website, and they are pretty fast on answering. So I hope you have the help that you need so you can access the former account. And if not, don't worry, you will build again your audience, and you will have the audience that you need for whatever it is worth it for you.
Exactly. I'm not that worried because the people who need to find me will find me, and it's good to start afresh, actually. Maybe I can follow less people and have a better hallway with more things I'm interested in listening to. So
I
for
feel
sure, your room is one of them.
because I actively use two different profiles, I definitely see a difference between the Lee and the Lovely account and what I follow and what's followed there. So it can be helpful sometimes to have two personalities in the virtual world.
Yeah, it's good to have the two accounts. So I'll keep that in mind. I'll make another one.
We need more Lees in the world.
You.
I did have something to share with Adriana, because you were talking about dealing with somebody, and then that made me think of chapter 8. And the section is called the body as a means of communication, and that helped me a lot with letting go of bodies. Yeah. I just wanted to share that.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
attachment, like the
it is a good.
attachment. Sorry, I was just going to say
No,
the body attachment idea.
no, no, he's
Yeah,
talking
just.
about that. Ah, okay, go.
Oh no, you go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, what I understand is that you're remembering the part of the book that talks about the body as a communication device, just like that. I mean, it's not like the source of your experience in the world. It's just a mean. I mean, it's just a medium
Right.
to for the light to communicate. So that's when I get probably my level of confusion, because I know that what he showed me with his body and his ways of reacting when I'm with my daughter, it's a message, of course, and that message that I'm receiving is not like in the highest vibration that I wanted to, that I know that he is, so that is probably my entire like resistance, is that I that I wish that he could be more gentle, more kind, more loving in his expression. But I need to understand, as Tom said, because I was in my confusion, that he is playing a role for some higher reason. And I don't get to decide if he needs to figure this thing out now or tomorrow or in a year. I just need to be aware that if it's something that it's going on and if there is a friction, it's not only him doing something to me. It's just me trying to just reject him for whatever reason I think it is bad or good, or good, yeah. And it's not. I am not a director. I just have to be more aware that if I have these triggers are mine. It's nothing that he can do. It's nothing that he can do. Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. It's just that I lost some of my computer speed. Okay, so
With you.
yeah, I think I I understand it right, KM, the thing that.
Yeah, for sure. It says attitudes of the body are all attacks. So as long as we identify with the body, if it's a good body, if it's a bad body, just the identification is the problem. I just would say that I don't know the actual situation, obviously, but I would say also there's also, like, boundaries in protecting your own peace.
Exactly.
So as like there was, his name was Ramakrishna, and he said, everyone is holy, but if there's a wicked person, you can salute them. You shouldn't really you shouldn't cut yourself. You shouldn't mess yourself up just to help somebody else, because it starts with you. But we should, obviously, as a mother, you want to be nurturing, but I understand that because
um, other people. And it's important to remember that perspective because, other people will show their boundaries, but It's really up to us. Doing that as we speak, so I can totally resonate with what you're saying.
I feel like it's really a call for love or love, but
I'm sorry that I haven't been able to follow through the conversation because I'm having an internet like bad reception right now. So you please continue talking because I'm like having breaks in your in your.
It totally sounds fine on our side. No interruption at all. But I can tell you this: so you haven't missed anything. Everything that you've said has come back to you several times over from different directions, my dear.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you, thank
I
you.
would have to agree with the call for love. I feel the same, and that's and that's how we serve the best, really, because if we can see that, we do it as well. It's such a, it's just, I mean, obviously, yeah, it's everything.
even when we're being attacked, it's a call for love.
Yeah, in
I
fact, it
started.
is.
Sorry, go ahead. You're right.
No, go, honey. I was just
Well,
agreeing.
the book, Tristan Dan's right. It's, the book says it over and over and over again. Everything that feels like an attack is really just a call for love. And unfortunately, people call for love in some of the worst ways possible. I started to, this reading bring up a memory for me. At one point, I had a really clear, based off this reading, a really clear picture that I had associated myself so much with the person driving this car, the car that I'm in, whatever car I'm in, when I was driving back and forth to see my kids, be it an hour and a half drive, between 2 and 5 times a week, depending on the week. And I had a lot of time in the car. And enough time driving, and you get in that automatic mode where you can kind of get in the car, and then you can step out of the car an hour later, and you feel like it was, you don't even know what happened. You got in, you got out. And that level of association is a great metaphor for who we really are. We really do have a driver, an autonomous kind of being that creates the reality around us and drives us where we want it to go. And we set that driver in motion. And the driver helps the car in order. It helps the car get gas and deals with the world of duality. And it feels like we're in that world of duality. But we're really not. We're really driving a remote vehicle, a game board on the a game piece on the game board of life from the position of our mind. And we associate our mind so closely with our body that we feel like our body is our mind, and our mind is our body, and our mind is our brain inside the body. That's arguing for our littleness. It's ignoring all the other dimensions that we really exist on, because we can only see 3 out of those dimensions. And in the 4th dimension that we live in, time, we only get a second of it at a time. We're stuck in this linear dimension of time and 3 dimensions of space. And we can't go beyond that. We can't get into what scientists call the 4th dimension. And we can't enter into the area my dad calls the 5th dimension without some kind of disassociation with our 3rd dimensional body and the ability to enter up into those higher levels. And that's what this teaching does at a real level. It's getting us in tune with what scientists are showing is the truth, what the greatest thinkers of every age told us that it was the truth, that we're not our body, we're free, God created us initially, and we go back to that state after this brief time asleep in this body, walking around on this earth. Thank God we've got a book that helps us go home. I'm complete.
Yeah, and a lot of people that is joining us in this process. Thank you, everybody. I'm really so happy to have this mornings like this in my life. I mean, who would have thought a year ago that I would be doing this every single day of my year? It's amazing. For me, it's like really doing a quantum leap from the life that I had a year ago. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So, yes, I am at home, and fear is the stranger here. Because thanks to the book and all of you, I get to realize that I am at home. So, thank you, everybody. Does anybody wants to have another kind of sharing? I will. Let me see. The questions here.
Well, if you want to, Adriana, we can wrap it up with a prayer. And
Yeah, with
all
a
you need to
prayer.
do, yeah, and you
Let
can
me
go over to
find.
Streamlabs and hit stop, and it'll be fine. Or
Yeah,
let
of
it go, and
course.
I'll take care of it when I get there.
No, no, I mean, I will do what you feel comfortable doing. I can end the stream too. Everybody can go by its day. I think I'm gonna find something in the chapter that Kayam was mentioning. Maybe. Let me see. Oh, Kayam, you may have a good idea for a prayer before we go. You are really good at remembering the sections of the book. Well, I think I found one, but I'm gonna search it in English because I have my book in Spanish. I will give it right there. Let me find the prayer so we can go. This is okay. One moment. Little willingness. This is coming from the little willingness in chapter 18, the passing of the dream. So I'm gonna give you this piece, and I'm gonna send you go by to with your day very in peace in God's hands. So this says, I who am host to God, am worthy of him. He who established his dwelling place in me created it as he would have it be. It is not needful that I make it ready for him, but only that I do not interfere with his plans to restore to me my own awareness of my readiness, which is eternal. I need add nothing to his plan, but to receive it. I must be willing not to substitute my own in place of it. This is part of the chapter 18. So, well, thank you, everybody. We're going to be here tomorrow at the same time with the lesson 161. And well, if there's nobody else with an idea or a thought, I will
Thank you,
say
Adriana.
goodbye to you all. No, thank you, honey. Thank you for guiding me too.
Create a
Love
great
you
day.
all. Thank you.
Thank
Namaste.
you, Tom. Thank you. Sean, bye bye. Bye bye, Andy, Luisa, Rainbow. Have a wonderful day, Kayam. Thank you for participating today.
Welcome, Clark.
Morning.
Just in time.
What?
Somebody just joined us. It seems to happen every time we try and close. But
Well,
That happened to me
all
last
good.
time.
It's all good.
The Holy Spirit hasn't been wanting me to join these calls because I've just been waking up late. So I've been wanting to join, but I just,
You do it whenever
Right, we're
you
still here.
can, that it will be perfect for us to have you.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. Glad to have you here, man.
Peace.
Have the best day ever.
Rainbow, thank you. And those flowers really are a gift for me.
They
I love
are
those
beautiful.
flowers. Thank you. Yeah.
They're lilies. Lilies are for forgiveness, right?
Yes.
God's gift to the
There's
lilies.
a chapter. That yesterday chapter was the one that talks about lilies, or like a few days
Yes.
ago. It was
yesterday. Yep.
chapter. That's fine. Nice. Great. Thank you, Rainbow. Have a wonderful day, Michael. You
Peace and love.
peace and love, my friend. Thank you. Okay, honey, I'm gonna end the streaming then. Okay, I'm gonna end the streaming and then Clubhouse is right